Our State of the U.S. segment tonight, we could also call this segment How to Bury a Lead by Rachel Maddow. Yesterday, liberal MSNBC host Rachel Maddow claimed she was going to release President Trump's tax returns on her show. This sent the internet buzzing in anticipation, but the actual release was underwhelming, to say the least. Maddow released 2 pages of Trump's 2005 tax return, which states that he paid $5.3 million in federal income tax and $31 million in alternative minimum tax on the $150 million income that year. Total taxes, $38 million. Take a look.
What I have here is a copy of Donald Trump's tax returns. We have his federal tax return for 1 year for 2005. I believe this is the only set of the president's federal taxes that reporters have ever gotten a hold of. What we have are these 2 pages, front and back, from the same 1040 form that you might have filled out when you file your taxes. And in terms of what's on here, let me give you the basics. Aside from the numbers being large, these pages are straightforward. He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year. Mazel tov.
With me now, founder and proprietor of ReaganBabe.com, Megan Barth. Megan, good to see you.
Great to see you too, Liz. Thanks for having me back
All right,
on.
Megan, these 2 pages, Rachel Maddow held them up like they were the crown jewel of something. 2 pages from 2005, 12 years ago. They say Donald Trump earned $150 million in that year. Kudos to him. He paid a total of $38 million in taxes. Megan, that is a lot of money, both in income and a lot of money to pay in taxes. What's the scandal here?
Well, if you're wondering why the mascot of the Democrats is the jackass, look no further than last night. Thank you, Rachel Maddow, for proving what everyone has been saying is that, yes, actually, Donald Trump does pay his fair share. Unlike Bernie Sanders, who paid 13%, Barack Obama, who paid 19%, and I'm not sure what the Clintons paid, but we do know that Joe Biden only gave 2% of his entire salary to charity. So those that are griping about paying their fair share certainly falls short of their mission to tax everyone to death. But Donald Trump paid, what, $38 million, was it?
Yeah, $38 million on $150 million. I mean, this just puts to rest the question, I guess. I mean, from 2005, it's not exactly recent anyway, so I'm not sure what it tells us. But he is as rich as he says he is. That was another accusation from Democrats. Hillary Clinton claimed during the campaign that he didn't pay anything in taxes. That's clearly unsubstantiated. That's clearly a lie here. Exactly what you said. President Obama paid 19% tax rate. Bernie Sanders paid 13% tax rate. I mean, they're never going to get over their comments about President Trump. But here's a funny one, too, Megan. MSNBC, where Rachel Maddow works, they paid a 24% tax rate. They paid a lower tax rate than Donald Trump did that year.
Yeah, and you will never find the Democrats like Barack Obama or Bernie Sanders taking a write-down of a loss or a depreciating asset because they've never built anything except for bigger government, which now the biggest government that we have had in quite some time has taken in a record number of taxes this past year, and it's going to bigger government and not the people who paid into it.
Right, and clearly one of these people is Donald Trump here. And so answer me this question, Megan, because this was one of the things, again, that people were accusing Donald Trump when he was before. I mean, he didn't release them now. They were stolen from them. But when he said all along that he wasn't going to release his taxes, he was under audit, they accused him of breaking laws. They said he was either a tax dodge, that he had some shady connections to the Russians, or, you know, he wasn't as rich as he said he was. When you look at these tax returns, I mean, did he break any laws?
No, but who did break the laws were those who leaked the tax returns, as well as other private conversations. The left now has elevated lawlessness into political assassination and character assassination because they can't stand on the truth. They're standing on a mound of quicksand, and it's a mound of quicksand that is created by felons. So whoever leaked this private information should really be the story here, because every single American, if you cross the left, could be a target of felonious individuals. These are felonies. The leaking of tax returns carries a $5,000 penalty, minimum fine, and a minimum of 5 years in prison.
Right, and so we're not hearing any of the consternation, any of the indignation from the left that we heard when Hillary Clinton's email was hacked, and that was the same situation of a private citizen who had individual property, intellectual property stolen from them. Megan, let me ask you about this, though. Critics are saying that Donald Trump perhaps mailed this tax return to that journalist himself in order to distract from the bad press that he was getting, you know, on Russia, on his wiretapping allegations, on the Obamacare light bill that's going through Congress. You know, there's no substantiation to that claim. But if he did do that, they're acting like this is a huge scandal. If he did do that, I think it just means he's smarter than them.
Yeah, I think Ashton Kutcher should take some tips from Donald Trump and maybe punked part two. Donald Trump produced that, because right now he's punking the Democrats left and right, and they're falling right into the trap if that's the case.
Right. And one more question here. Let me ask you about the alternative minimum tax. So the way that these taxes, this $38 million in taxes that Trump paid was divided, it was about $5 million that he paid in federal income tax. And then he paid a little over $30 million, about $31 million in alternative minimum tax. And another line of attack that we're hearing from the left is that even though Trump paid $38 million in taxes, he wants to abolish the alternative minimum tax. And to me, that's a no-brainer, Megan. No kidding, he wants to abolish it. That's where most of his taxes go. But the fact of the matter is he followed the law and he did pay that.
Right. He followed the law. He paid in accordance to the law. And I've heard some on the left saying, well, that's all he paid. Well, that's what the law requires. And so it will never be enough for Democrats. They will tax everyone into oblivion. And even if they confiscated all of the wealth from the top 100 wealthy people, we still wouldn't be able to tackle the debt that Barack Obama created and doubled in 8 years.
Right. And I've been saying this, or I've said this several times, I should say, since last night when this underwhelming expose was released by Maddow. If you're upset that the man that paid $38 million to our federal government didn't pay more than that, then you might be an entitled liberal. And I think that's exactly what Maddow is. Megan, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's always great to talk to you.